Hey guys, what's going on? What's going on, Mike? Mike, Dale, Brandon. What's going on, guys? Let a few people roll in here real quick. Buckeye Catfish, what's up, man? Just got home from work a little bit ago. Did a few things outside before it got too dark. Make sure my phone's charging here. I had a few people ask me to do this video, so hopefully they can join us. But if not, we'll go ahead and do it anyway, and I'll try to keep it relatively short so they can come back and watch it later. Not that I'm an expert by any means, but you ask and I'll do a video. Speaking of that, if anybody wants to jump on here and fill in any gaps I'm missing or give your version of how you do things, let me know and I'll get the link put up and we'll get you up here with me and we can talk about fishing here for a little bit tonight. Georgia, John boys, what's going on? I tried to do a video on this, a recorded and edited video, and I gave up after about 20 or 25 tries. I had a bunch of short little clips on the GoPro, and I don't know, I've been super busy here lately, so trying to find time to edit them and get them all put down to get them all put down into one video. It just got too hard, so finally I was like, I'll do a live real quick. That way people can ask questions if I'm not explaining something right. We can go from there. But yeah, Brandon, I feel the same way, man. I think the last time I fished, was when I was bank fishing, and we didn't catch anything. The time before that was January 2nd when I broke my boat. So it's been a while. I'm ready for, hell, at this point, 40, 50-degree weather. That's pretty good shipping, really. What's that, 2 days? I should have put my phone around so when I scroll through the comments, I'm not putting my thumb in front of the camera. Everything's locked up. Is it moving again? It looks good on my end. I've got full bars of 5G. Country boy catfishing, what's going on? So go. Let me flip that around so I'm not covering the camera every time I try to scroll through comments. There we go. That's better. Oh, the lakes. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard water there, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not about ice fishing. I don't think we have enough to ice fish really anyway. I think the general rule of thumb is like, what, 4 inches or something for safe ice? What's going on, Roger? Have you done any dragging on the river yet, Roger? Or you just anchor up every time? Might have to get you in here talking about dragging on the river if you have. That's completely up to you. Too cold for that anyways? Yeah, no kidding. I think I was gonna fish a little bit longer into the winter, and I did. Uh, I'm not sure I've ever fished in January before, but yeah, I think I'm done till March or so. You drag at times. Well, if you want to come here and talk about it, I'll drop the link and you can come in real quick. If not, that's fine too. I can talk about lakes, and that's it. Hey, what's going on, man? I was gonna try to wait until somebody that asked for the video jumped in here, but they might not make it. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm gonna start with is my rig, which I think some of you guys have probably seen the video for already, so I won't spend a whole lot of time with it unless somebody has a question about it. So yeah, I'm ready for spring too. I like spring catfishing. Some line out here. Should have was outside where I had some room. So on all my rigs, first thing I do is I start out with a sinker slide. That way, when I'm not dragging, which is like one day out of the year, I can put on a different weight, and I can anchor up or something like that. Or if I'm bank fishing, I can put on a bank, well, not a bank sinker, but a coin sinker or a pyramid sinker, something that has an eye on it. For my dragging weights, B-Cat makes these. They have the I can't exactly what it's called right now, but the foam and the top to kind of help it float. Then the weights are down on the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then from there, I go down to a little rubber bead to help protect the knot, down to a chain swivel. That way, when your bait, I go the right way. If your bait starts spinning through the water, it will let your line swivel instead of tangling up. Because back before I used to use these, probably 50% of the time, I would reel in my bait when I was ready to move spots or check bait or whatever, and it'd be so twisted up that you just no wonder you weren't catching anything. So then I go down and I'll throw a peg float on, or sometimes I'll use like a demon dragon of some kind. I actually don't have any right now. I was looking for some before I started the live feed, and I thought I did, but I'm completely out, so I'm gonna order some more of those. And but anyway, a peg float or a demon dragon of some kind, and I leave mine, probably 3 inches or so from my hook. I know some people run them all the way down on the hook. Some people leave them up a little further, but that's generally about where mine are at. But obviously you can move it, and that just helps. For those of you that don't drag, helps keep your bait up off the bottom. And then I go down, and sometimes I'll snell them, but that's kind of a new thing for me. I used to just use the fisherman's knot, and then I've been running these Daiichis, however you say it, the D85s and a 5/0. Yeah, Roger, I just want to go down there. I don't care if I drag it, anchor fish it, whatever. So that's my rig as far as that goes. Um, Before I started using those dragging weights, I was using, if I can find them, I was just using these homemade. They look like pencil weights, but they're heat shrink. And the reason I did that is because when we made them, we hollowed out the inside of a rope and put, was it 1/4 ounce, lead down in there. Probably, I think there's 9 or 10 in this one, but the rope was too loose, I guess, with the braids, and the weights were coming out, so I had to heat shrink them. But you can kind of see that one a little bit better, all the individual weights in there. But those work pretty good. It's a lot less painful when you lose them if you make them yourself. It's a lot cheaper. But I've had a lot better luck with these because, like I said, it has that foam backer rod in the front of it, and it kind of leaves this up a little bit. So when you're coming up on something, it's a lot more likely to go over top of whatever you're dragging over. Hey, what's going on, Thomas? Instead of hanging up on it. So I like these a little bit better. I think I've even got another one of a different kind in here, but I might not. I need to go through and organize my tackle and get restocked on everything for spring instead of just complaining it's too cold. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't have any other ones, but there's all different kinds. Like I said, those are the ones I like the best. Yeah, the longer ones seem like they notification. The longer ones seem like they go over cover better, especially if they have that foam in the front to kind of help keep it lifted up. Yeah, I was looking for another dragging weight that I thought I had, Brandon, but I couldn't find it. So yeah, the longer ones seem to do better for me. Like Roger just said, Roger, I'm going to, okay? Calm down. I got to get the 2 foot of snow off of it first. I need to get it fixed and then get it tarped. I don't want to say I'm done until it gets a little warmer, but I might be done until it gets a little warmer. Like Brandon was just talking about there a minute ago, I saw a picture of Cedars Creek, and it was frozen clear out as far as you can see in the picture. So I might be done till March or something, but we'll figure that out once we get the boat running again. But speaking of the boat, so anybody else that drags, I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on this, just because, yeah, Brandon, I know. I think I got 10 or 11 inches out the house probably. But yeah, anybody else that drags or trolls, drifts, whatever you want to call it, I'd like to hear your guys' input on it, because what I do pretty much is anywhere that I would normally anchor fish is where I will drag. Hey, what's going on, Lynn? Where are you going, Roger? The river? How shallow is your river? I've drug baits, and I'm trying to think the shallowest I've been. I've successfully drug baits in 4 foot of water. I'm not sure the shallowest I've drug and not caught anything. You talking 22 total inches of snow, or like on top of what we already have, or 22 inches all at once? Average about 10 feet. So I don't drag the river. I've never drug a river. I've fished lakes. But 10 feet, I wouldn't be scared to drag it. I would definitely try it out. You want to know how to drag ice? Well, you're gonna have to drill a whole bunch of holes and then connect them somehow, and then mount you a rod holder on your 4-wheeler. I hope Roger goes live. Likes watching catching fish. He's been tearing it up down there here lately. Well, I'm in the process of kind of telling you how I drag. I'm not going to say it's the right way. I've had success with it. Like I said, I fish, lakes here in Southern Ohio. I've never drug on a river or anything. So maybe that'd be something to ask Muskrat, Roger. I think Chad drags a little bit. I'm not sure if Brandon and Betty drag down the river at all, but as far as lakes go, I'll tell you what I do. I mean, works for me, but give it a shot when the weather warms up. Yeah, I would for sure. I just like it because for one, you're covering water, whereas anchoring you have to hit a small area and then sit there for a little bit, move, sit there for a little bit. Whereas dragging, you can pick your area and basically cover the whole thing. And if they're biting, go back. If not, move on somewhere else. How far behind the boat do I drag? Oh, hang on a minute. Somebody's commented and moved chat really far. So I don't have line counters on my reels, but I mean, I spool probably 100, 150 yards, and I pretty much, maybe even more than that. I don't know. I'm not a measuring kind of guy. I just do everything by feel. But I drag, I'd say at least 100 yards behind the boat, maybe 70 at the minimum. But it seems, I don't know if it's less boat noise or if it's coincidence or if it's the pitch of the line, the way it's going in the water. You know what I mean? But it seems to me the further back I have my baits, the better, excuse me, the better I do. So I drag pretty far. And I know some people will like stagger them where this one's 100 yards, this one's 70, this one's 60 or whatever. Like I said, I don't have line counters, so I just let them free spool as I'm trolling the set speed that I want to fish at that day, and I just let them go back. Pretty much. Like I said, I would guess 70 to 100 yards on average. 1 to 3 inches predicted Monday. Well, they were off by about 7 inches last time. Brandon's going to give it a shot. Dragging the river this summer? 150, 250 feet. Yeah, it's about half a spool. Yeah. Brandon, I haven't had too big of a problem as far as, like I said, I don't count, mine. I just let them go. So the chance of them being right in line is very small. But I mean, I do use planer boards, Thomas. So not all the time, but even when I don't use planer boards, I haven't had a whole lot of trouble, getting tangled up. So planer boards, since you brought it up, I just got some new ones in the other day. I haven't even put them together yet, but here's one of them. Made by these guys. Get that glare off there, maybe. They're pretty good boards. They hold a lot of weight. I know Roger used them with me one day. I'm pretty sure. We use the smaller ones, though. These ones over here. We were using these ones right here, so they're quite a bit smaller in comparison. And these hold a lot of weight, so I can't wait to see what these do. I haven't tried them yet. Then I also got this one in. It's EVA foam. They're pretty sweet looking, so I can't wait to try them out. I'm gonna put them together still, but I've been using planer boards a whole lot more the last half of this year than I did the first half. So I think this next year coming up, I'm going to be using planer boards a whole lot more. So let me scroll back up here where I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, planer boards help a lot. PD, what's going on? Mr. T-Bone. Has it in here? What's going on, man? So a planer board, I wish I had a pen or something I could show you, but basically what a planer board does is I've got a picture on my Facebook, I think, or I'll send you one after this is over. I got a video of them in action. But basically, like here in Ohio, 2 rod limit per person. So usually I'm fishing 4 rods. So what I'll do is I'll have my 2 middle rods and I'll have them straight out the back. And then my 2 outside rods, I will hook them on planer boards. And basically what it'll do is it will plane out, I guess for lack of a better word, and it will, swing out to the side. And for one, like it'll give you a lot better water coverage. But for 2, if you were fishing somewhere you could use more rods, or say you had 3 or 4 people on the boat, and you were really wanting to stagger some lines, the more line you let out, the further it swings out. So you can have 3 rods on one side, have one with no planer board, the next rod up, have one with a planer board on it, and let X amount of line out, and then it's going to plane over to the side of the boat, however far for how much line you have out. Then your next rod, you can do it again and let less line out, and it's going to plane over a little less. And it gets, for like I said, for one, it gives you more water coverage, and for two, it separates your lines more, so you have less of a chance of tangling up. I just went through 100 comments on accident. That's a good way to put that, Roger. A water kite. Yeah, for the longest time, I didn't use them either. And I'm terrible with these comments tonight, guys. I'm sorry. Every time I touch the screen, it goes clear to the bottom. Planer boards will work while anchored. If you're fishing a river, like you said, they will. If you're fishing on a lake, they're not really going to plane out. I've tried to use them in heavy wind before while I was anchored, and it was too variable of a wind, and it wasn't blowing. I think it was like 15, 20 mile an hour winds that day. It wasn't steady enough in one direction to actually plane out. It started to work. These boards I got right here plane out really easy, so it almost worked, but as far as getting out there and really planing out with any kind of distance or coverage, it doesn't work. So like Brandon and Roger just said, if there's current, yes, they'll work. But if you're fishing a lake, what's going on, Jesse? If you're fishing a lake, then I wouldn't worry about it. Put 2 straight out the back ones. There you go. So we're using 6 rods there. Am I counting that right? 2, 6 or 8. I've never used a Kentucky rig. I thought about it, but I just never have. Lots to learn. Yeah, we've all got lots to learn. I'm sure that's what you were saying. Lessons on bumping. Yeah, I'm not your guy for that. I need to do that. I need some information on that myself. But so what we were talking about before the planer boards, when I'm looking for a spot, first of all, I kind of when I plan my trip out, I will take in considerations, the time of year, temperature, conditions, all that good stuff, and I will, kind of plug that in to my my little theory, and I'll look on drawing a blank here, phone app, Navionics. There you go. I'll look in Navionics, and I'll kind of pick my spot out before I even get to the lake, based on what I'm seeing. Yeah, I just got a notification for your video, but lost my train of thought. I pick my spot out before I get to the lake, and these lakes in Ohio, I know I don't have the best electronics, but for the most part, we don't have a whole lot of structure in a bunch of them, or real big river channels or anything like that. So it's pretty much almost like a big mud bowl. So I'm not looking for big, huge drop offs or whatever, but if I can find any kind of a contour, whether it's like a point that comes out, or a little a little ditch or a little drop off, just the slightest thing that's going to hold a fish. And what I like to do is I like to find the longest one that's in one continuous path for the area of what I want to fish. That way, when I get when I get everything set up, I don't have to turn around 100 times, real poles in to move spots and move angles and all that stuff. Because with planer boards or without, when you're trying to turn while you're dragging, you're asking for trouble. So I try to find the longest path that I can take in a straight line. Like I said, in that area I'm wanting to fish, and I'll just start dragging. But it pretty much goes back just to like all the spots I would have fished before, anchored up. I'll fish the same exact spots, but just dragging, and I've had 100 times better luck dragging. I know when we first started here, Brandon and Roger both were saying that dragging's the way to go, and I 100% agree. Daniel, Sharp Fishing TV. What's going on, guys? Hooks and Hammocks, how you doing? Got some new people rolling in here. Jesse, I think I said hey to you. If not, what's going on? Emoji all changed. My preferred bait while dragging, my preferred bait in general is cut shad. So when I'm dragging, obviously that's going to stay the same. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like I've had the best luck on shad. I've used bluegill. I've caught fish on them. Don't get me wrong. I've used. I'm trying to think. I mean, shad's pretty much one of the first things I've started out with as far as dragging, because obviously like chicken liver and stuff like that isn't going to stay on. Chicken, I've used it. Didn't have any luck with it. I know Roger tears them up down there on the river with it, but I don't know. I fish mostly for channel cats, and it seems like blues are the ones that will eat the chicken more. So I've used shrimp before too, but I don't like to. That's just if if I don't have shad or can't find shad or something. A lot of current in the Missouri, so that's more of a Roger, Brandon, Chad question. I don't fish the river. I don't know why you couldn't. I would suggest, probably, this is my theory. If you're going to drag the river, what I would want to do, I think, is I would want to get drift socks or something to slow me down, and I think I would want to drift instead of, because I troll a lot. I mean, I know that means different things to different people, but I drag while trolling, I guess we'll put that way. So I'm dragging the bottom with the setup I showed you guys earlier, but I'm using my trolling motor for power. I don't like using the wind. So yeah, I would try drifting. That way, when you're going down the river, those fish that are in their little pockets waiting on bait to go by are right there looking at it, ready. But that's my that's my theory. I don't fish the river, so that is not a question for me. Any bites yet? Yeah, Josh, we had 2 or 3 bites, but we haven't been able to get anything in the boat yet. So, hey, Chad, what's going on, man? Chad, I was going to try and find your link and post it in the description for tonight's show, but I didn't know if it was on yours or James's, and I was running out of time trying to get set up, so I didn't get a chance to. So I think a lot of these names I see a lot, so I'm sure they're going to be in there anyway. But if you want to put that link in there, feel free. Bass boats or pontoon. I fish out of a bass boat, but I know Chad does too. But the main reason I do is I couldn't pass the deal up that I got on mine. If I get one in the future, I would say it's probably going to be a deep V, but I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Maurice, what's going on? You frozen your pontoon boat? At least you got a cabin on it. I've looked at getting some kind of hey Paul, what's going on? Troll cat. Yeah, I haven't seen your name in here before. Appreciate you stopping by. Um, I've looked at getting some kind of an enclosure for my boat, or even a bimini top or bimini top, however you pronounce it. But the way I fish, talking about dragging, and the way those tops work on bass boats, I feel like they're just going to be in the way too much. So as much as as nice as it would be to cover some of the, block some of the rain or even the sun when it's 110 degrees out there, I don't think it's gonna, I don't think it's gonna happen. $1 million question. What I miss? What is the best trolling motor with spot lock? So, my opinion, um, the one that I like the best, I like Minn Kota. I've had one motor guide, and it was old. Don't I'm not trying to knock the motor guide. So I'm sure their newer ones are a lot better, but the motor guide that I used, like I said, it was old. I did not like it. Um, so I've had two or three Minn Kotas now. The first two were just the turn the knob and go tiller handle. There you go. Um, I'll forget that if I don't mark it. So the one I have now, it's a power drive with autopilot, not iPilot, but autopilot, which basically gives you the remote capabilities. And if you're going to get serious about dragging, I highly recommend getting a trolling motor that has a remote on it. I'm not, if you're going to get one, I recommend getting one with spot lock, because that's my regret right now, not having spot lock, just because the pain trying to anchor sometimes. Not that I do it very often, but when I do want to anchor, it just, I think spot lock would be a lot nicer, especially for like when the couple months out of the year I crappie fish. I think it'd be nice having that spot lock. But anyway, if you're going to get serious about dragging and do it often, I highly recommend getting a trolling motor that has a remote capability with it. It makes your life a lot easier. So the speed I drift at, again, you can drift with the wind and use drift socks or something like that to slow you down. But anyway, however you're going to do it, drifting or trolling, speed is probably the number. Besides the rig, speed is probably the number two thing, and it's going to vary depending on the weather. Because not the weather. I'm sorry, the temperature is the biggest thing I've noticed. Because when it's cold, fish will still eat. Obviously, they got to eat all the time, but they're a lot more lethargic and a lot less in that chasing mode. So, early spring and then like late fall when the water's cool, I would say probably up to, I don't know, 50 degrees probably. I try to stay 0.4, 0.5. If it's really cold, down 40s, like low 40s or whatever, maybe even 0.3. As it starts getting warmer, I'll go up, 0.6, 0.7. And then in the dead middle of the summer when it's hot and, you're looking at 70, 80-degree water temps or whatever, I usually drift or I usually troll at 0.8 is about the highest I'll go. I've never really been above that. I know people that troll for crappie, they troll 1.2. So I would imagine the catfish would still bite going that fast, but I never tried it. Like I said, I usually cut myself off about 0.8. If I see I'm going any faster than that, I'll slow down. Full enclosure for your pontoon. Yeah, that sounds nice, man. I wish I had that a couple times out there on the water. There I go again. Touch a button and lose all the comments down at the bottom. Okay. Do you shoot for 0.4, 0.5? Is that all the time, or do you speed up in the summertime? There you go, Thomas. I don't know if you saw that or not. I know you said you're going to be dragging on the river, so make sure you see that one. I doubt it, Brandon. You're gonna have to do a pretty good job trying to get me to switch over. I've had too good of luck dragging. Catfish with Odad. What's going on, man? Glad you could make it. I haven't covered a whole lot yet, honestly. We've kind of just been chatting. I went over my rig, which you'll see right there in the beginning. Or if anybody wants me to, I can go over it again. I've got a whole separate video on that too. We talked about spots, which pretty much I beat around the bush and basically said in a long way, anywhere that you would normally anchor, go ahead and drag there. Depending on what time of year, depending on what time of year it is, in the spring, say you anchor on this end of the lake or river, whatever, go there and drag. In the summertime, you move down here and anchor, go down there and drag. The biggest tip I've got is try to find the biggest straight stretch of that little spot you're wanting to fish. So that way you're not constantly reeling in and moving around and turning, you know what I mean? And then as far as speed, Roger just said, I think if I'm not mistaken, you fish rivers. Roger just said he goes half the speed of the current. If you do fish lakes, what I usually do is, like I was just saying, 40, 50 degree water temperatures, 0.3, 4, 5, something like that. As it starts getting warmer in the 60s and 70s, I'll focus more on the 0.5, 6, 7. And then, as it gets, a little bit warmer into the 70s and 80s, I'll go up to about 0.8, but that's usually my cutoff. I usually don't go any faster than that. Sounds like I need a trolling motor. If you're fit, I hate these comments. They're fighting me today. That's 4 to 5 in lakes. In the river, I'm still learning boat control. Yeah, I need to get down to the river and start learning some stuff. What's up? Time to eat. All right, I'll be out there in a minute. Uh, How to use bass boat. That's not a bad deal, honestly. I don't know what kind of condition the boat's in or anything like that, or what kind of fish finders are on it. I believe. Let's see, I bought my boat like 4 or 5 years ago, so I kind of forget. I think I paid $2,700 for mine. It had a fish finder on it, but I replaced it. It had a trolling motor on it. It was that motor guide I was just talking about, so I replaced it. But I mean, none of that's cheap. That if you're going to get a brand new trolling motor with a remote, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to spend $1,000, and then batteries and tires add up quick too. So flatheads, hole, and structure. We're channel catfishing, bud. Channels and blues. Bass boats sit low in the water. Yeah, that's my big complaint about mine. Kind of, I mean, it doesn't worry me, I don't guess, because of how stable they are. But I wouldn't mind a deep V. Yeah, 24 mile an hour on a pontoon. That would drive me nuts. Even my bass boat, like we were just talking about how low they sit in the water, the wind still hits them enough where that aggravates me. I fish rivers. Do you drag against the current or with the current? And can you drag the channel drop off? So I know I missed some comments. I'll go back up there in a minute. So Roger, Brandon, if you're still on here, Chad, if you're still in here, maybe help me out a little bit with this one, seeing as I fish lakes all the time. But I would think it would be easier to drag against the current because you can control your speed better. But I would think it would make more sense to drag or drift, with the current. That way, as those fish are sitting there in their little pockets waiting to feed, as bait fish come down the river or whatever, I would think that'd be the way to go, but I don't know. So hopefully they can help you out with that. As far as dragging a channel drop off, it depends how deep it is. My preferred method when it comes to drop offs, if it's just a couple foot drop off, I'll drag it. But like there's one spot that I fished and it dropped from like, I want to say 16 feet down to 40 feet or 45 feet within, no room at all. It was a really steep drop off. And I tried to drag it and I wasn't really getting hung up. I just wasn't getting a lot of bites. And so I went back over it and I went back up on the ledge. Well, I guess it was actually a big flat coming off the bank. And I went up there in that 16, 17 foot of water or whatever it was. And I dropped my bait down. I let it hit the bottom. I gave it a crank or two off the bottom. And then I just hovered on that ledge, right where that drop off started to roll down. I just hovered there as close as I could. So I was basically between like 16 foot and 20 foot. And that's where I had the best luck. Again, it's going to depend on how deep or how steep that drop off is. And, I'm talking about a lake, not a river. So I'm not saying it's going to work for you for sure, but that's what I've had the better luck with. I try to match water temp to speed. 50 degrees, 0.5, 70, 0.7. That's kind of what I was talking about, Roger, in a more simplified form. Yeah. Be back going to be on the computer. Is that a hint? You want my boat? I wouldn't complain about it. Yours runs. Yeah, it's not my specialty. But going with what Roger just said about the fish telling you what they want, they will. Just like anything else, they'll tell you what bait they want, all that stuff. Whenever if you're fishing and I really don't pay a whole lot of attention to the graph when I'm dragging. I'll look for activity, whether it's bait fish, whatever. If I'm not marking anything at all for a long stretch, I'm probably gonna move spots. But I don't really go trying to find fish because it's not like I'm gonna anchor up on them. You know what I mean? I'm just finding an area that looks good, and if there's fish activity or life activity, I'll fish it and just start dragging. But if they're short striking, where you're getting takedowns, but they're not actually hooking up, I'll slow down a little bit. If I'm not getting any bites at all, I don't know why this works, but I've seen it way too many times to not say anything. I've been dragging before, for an hour and a half, whatever, not catching anything. Speed up a click or two on my remote, which is usually about 0.2 to 0.4 mile an hour, and start getting bites. So the fish will 100% tell you what they want. Yeah, I think the speed, in my opinion, is probably the most important thing next to your rig. I don't mean really your whole rig. I mean more your weight, and that's just for the simple fact of if you're hung up all the time, you're not. You're going to be going, but either going to be breaking off and retying, or you're going to be going back and getting unsnagged. So I use something like this, and this one in particular has a foam backing rod in the front of it or the top of it. So as you're dragging it along, it's going to kind of float up off the bottom just a little bit. then your weights are down here in this part, and they're going to lay on the bottom. So when I wish I had another hand, but when you're going over, a log or a tree or something, it's just going to roll right over it. So if you're trying to drag with a bank sinker or pyramid sinker or something like that, you're going to be getting hung up a lot more and fishing a lot less. So in my opinion, speed and your weight are two of the most important things. Planer boards, yeah, I was showing them a minute ago. This is the one I have been using. I just got some new ones. They're same design, just a little bit bigger, made by BCat. This one I'm pretty excited to try. It's an EVA foam instead of the pool noodle style, but they both hold quite a bit of weight. That one I just showed there a minute ago, it's probably half the size of these, and it held quite a bit of weight. So I'm excited to try those out. But yeah, I planted board fish a little bit in the past, but the more I do it, the more comfortable I get with it, and I think the more I'm going to do it. So this summer, I'm probably going to fish I usually fish 4 rods, 2 straight out the back and 2 out to the side. I usually run my planers on the 2 out to the side, and I'm probably going to fish the 2 planer boards almost every chance I can this year. Sometimes when the wind's coming from the side, when you're trying to drag somewhere, running planer boards can get kind of frustrating. So in that situation, I probably won't. But if I can, for where I'm fishing, I'm gonna run planer boards this year. You're good, Chad. Yeah, zigzag will help you find the right speed. I'll kind of touch on that a little bit. I'm sure it'd be a lot to type out. So if you're zigzagging, I need a boat. If you're zigzagging and you're turning this way, your rod over here that's on this side of the boat is gonna slow down, because as you're turning, you know what I mean, you're going towards it in a sense. Whereas your rod over on this side of the boat is gonna have to speed up to catch it as you're making that turn. So if you're zigzagging and every time the rod you're turning toward, like say, you're sitting in the boat looking at the front and you zigzag to the left and the rod behind you to your left gets hit, then they're wanting it slower. Whereas if you're making your zigzags and when you go left, the right rod gets hit, that rod's speeding up, then you might want to speed up a little bit and try trolling a little bit faster. Then once you find that speed that they're wanting, just find you a spot you're wanting to fish, set that speed, and just start wearing them out. So it's varying speed. I've tried that before, Brandon, where you're speed up, slow down, stuff like that. I've had the best luck when I find that speed they're wanting for that day, and I keep that speed as consistent as I can. And like I said, just find your spot you're wanting to go and just keep that speed the same, keep your course, and that's where I've had the best luck. But I'm not going to say that is true for every situation. Josh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I know I'm probably 3 minutes behind on that, but I apologize. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, it looks like you guys are kind of explaining what I just did there. A good affordable planer board. Okay. I don't know if anything good is affordable, but I know what you mean. I've only used a few styles. These ones right here are the ones that, out of the ones I've tried, I like them the best. I haven't used all of them, obviously, but I want to say Brandon might be able to help me out on here. Excuse me, I just told him the other day I want to say they're 60 a set, but I'm not positive on that. But anyway, I like them just because they plane out so easy. Some of the ones I've used in the past, they don't plane out very easy when you're trying to go slow in the cooler months. They don't plane out very easy. These ones plane out super easy, in my opinion, and they hold a lot of weight. So if you like using big chunks of bait, these are definitely, I mean, look at the size of the pool noodle on that. And that's who makes it. They don't have a website or anything. So if you want, get a hold of me later and I can put you in touch with the people that make them. My email's down in the description. I've got a lot of links down in the description too for pretty much all the stuff I got on my rigs and everything. The only thing I don't have a link for, as far as I know, is the hooks. Like I said, they're Daiichi D85s. Get caught back up here real quick. Yeah, Chad, like I said, I think these are like 60 or something. Somebody's probably already answered this question. I don't fish with 6 rods because of Ohio's 2-rod limit. But I would say if you're going to have 3 on each side and you're going to have them all out the back, I would run 1 straight out the back, and then I'd run 2 on each side. So I would use 4. But somebody that fishes with more rods can probably help you a little bit better than that. Yeah, 4. Start with 2, work up to 4 if you can. Yeah, I mean, it's going to give you more room, but 4 planer boards is kind of hard to keep up with. You know, like I was just talking about with the wind, if the wind changes directions and comes from the side or something, sometimes it'll blow them back in toward each other. So, yeah, start with, I mean, I don't want to say they're hard to get used to, but they're just something more you got to mess with. These clips right here, you guys probably can't see it very well. They have a little peg in them, and you have to go behind that peg to hold the line in, because if you go in front of it, there's not enough weight on the clip to hold it. So as soon as you just briefly snag something on the bottom, it's going to pop loose. So like on this one, like I said, you go behind the peg, if you can see it. Everything's backwards for me here. There you go. You can kind of see that little tooth in there. But you go behind that, so you can't just pop it off the clip. So you're going to have to reel it up all the way to your rod tip and unclip that. And then you can just let it go, because this is also on your line. So you can either take this off too, or you can just let this slide back down your line, and it is going to hit your rig right here, so it won't go anywhere. And then when you get the fish, you'll always have the planer board too. But I got some different clips when I ordered these boards, and to be honest, I haven't even looked at them yet. But I got some different clips, and I'm hoping that with these, we're going to be able to leave the line in front of the peg. That way, when a fish hits it, the pressure of the fish pulling the line and setting the hook and everything is going to pop that loose. So I won't have to mess with the planer board anymore when I get it to the boat. So yeah, just get you some and play with them, and you'll figure it out pretty quick. Don't want to leave over there. All right, man. I understand. We're busy. You know how long it took me to get this video out, so I definitely understand being busy. I appreciate you stopping in. What's going on, Chunky? Yeah, I don't drift fish a whole lot with rods straight down. I just haven't had a whole lot of luck with it, but I definitely understand what you're saying. Takedowns when you're suspended, they're some of the best ones out there. The Chris Souter hooks. You talking about those D85s? What's Josh making? I don't know. I missed something. Yeah, he uses them quite a bit. He's one of the ones that got me turned on to using them. Um, that I just seen him all over the place. Hey Roger, you talking about this? What's going on, D? I'm gonna check it out real quick. Catfish hooks. Those are crappie hooks. I'm not calling you a liar. I just want to look at it. Dragging weights to use from shore. I would, man. I don't know why it wouldn't work. I suck at bank fishing, so I can't help you out there. But Josh, I don't know how much. I don't know if you've ever used dragging weights before. Let me show you this real quick. So these are some homemade ones that my buddy made for me. They're. I wish you could see it better. Let me see if I got one that's. So if you can barely see at the end of that heat shrink, there's rope right there. We pull the core out of it, and then you can see the individual weights. I think they're 1/4 ounce or 3/8 ounce, something like that. We pulled the core out of the rope and put those in there, but the braid was too loose on this rope, so they were falling out. So I ended up having to heat shrink it. But these are nice because there's hardly any money in these. And then you just put a snap swivel on it to attach it to your line. So these are really cheap if you do end up snagging and losing them, because like us guys in the boat, we can go back, and if you get right over top where you're snagged, or even back past it a little bit, going going the other way, you can get it loose 90% of the time if it snags up at all. So being from the bank, not being able to get on the other side of what you're snagged on all the time, it might be better to, well, you said you're going to go homemade anyway, but going cheap might be the option. But then I've got these, that B-Cat that makes those boards, they make these too. And it's a little bit longer. Like Roger was saying earlier, he likes those as well, the longer ones, because they seem to go over stuff better. Plus these have all the way down to here foam backing rod in there. So that's going to kind of stand up in the water a little bit where your weights are down here. So whenever you do come up on something, it has this impact. It's the impact point is going to be somewhere in here, and it's going to be a lot more likely to go over what it's hitting instead of getting snagged on it. Yeah, that's a good point too, Roger. I don't have to cast very far. Dragging, I just kind of pitched out the back and let the momentum of the boat put the lines back there for me. So for my hooks here, D85 5/0, a pack of 3 for $2.45. That's not too bad. I want to say I've got $4 in the pack of 3 I bought when I bought these. I forget where I bought them from, but I just recently started using those hooks. I haven't really been using them that long, but I have not missed a takedown on them yet. Let's see. I've caught, I want to say, 4 fish on them. And like I said, I haven't missed a fish yet. So I'm going to keep using them for a while. But before that, I was using the, what are they called? That's right. The backstabbers from Hooker's Terminal Tackle, I think. I can't remember. Those aren't bad hooks either, but I just heard everybody talking about these D85s, so I had to try them out. Yeah, I saw those. They look pretty nice. How's that breakaway work? I haven't really looked at them that close. Because they looks wise, they look pretty much like this, don't they? D85. That's what I like, man. I've been using, like I said, not very long, but I love them. What's the advantage of a fine wire hook? I don't really have any input on that. I'm sure there are some, but to me, I just use what works. I will say, where they at here? I'm not going to say who makes these. You might be able to tell if you've used them before. I don't want you guys to think I'm bashing them. Let me see if I can get that to focus a little better. Yeah, it's not showing up on camera very well, but that's a little bit thicker. And I wouldn't have any. Yeah, can't talk. I wasn't having any luck with these, so I switched away from using them. But the Hooker's Terminal Tackle backstabbers, I had good luck with, and then the D85s, I've had really good luck with so far. So if there's an advantage to having a fine wire, I don't know what it is. I think they have a 20-pound. Okay, that would make sense. Somewhere right in here. That focus is terrible. Somewhere right in there. That's not a bad idea because then you're losing less gear. I will say though, honestly, using this style of rig, even with that homemade one I showed you earlier, obviously if I break off and don't get my stuff back, I can't tell you what it is. But when I do get snagged and I get it back, 9 times out of 10, there's something on the hook, like a small stick that broke off of a tree or a piece of bark, something like that. So I think my weights are doing the job. But occasionally, even though that floats on there to hold that hook up off the bottom, it gets caught just right and on those branches. So I think a lot of times when I get snagged and can't get it back, I'm gonna guess it's probably my hook getting snagged versus my weight. But I mean, still having that breakaway is not a bad idea. I've never used the mustads. I don't think. I've heard a lot about them. I know a lot of people use them, but I've just that's one hook I never used. I used to use the Gamakatsu octopus circle in a 5/0, and you can just go to Walmart and buy them. And really, the reason I quit doing that is because my Walmart for whatever reason quit selling them, and they just got really hard to find. So I started looking online and started buying them online, and then I jumped around through five or six different hooks, and like I said, I ended up on these D85s. And I know I've only caught 3 or 4 fish on them so far, but my hookup ratio is currently 100%. So at least until I miss a fish, I'm definitely going to be using these. If I start missing a bunch of fish or something, then we might reevaluate. But for the time being, like I said, 100% hookup ratio. We're gonna keep rolling with them. So yeah, I know you use those tackling cats, Roger. I'm gonna have to check those out and maybe get a pack of them. I'm about 9 aught. That's pretty big for my little channel cats. Trying to break my rod here. Put it back over here. Yeah, Roger, I'm glad you said that. I forgot all about it until you just mentioned that. But the fish that I have hooked with these D85s, they are almost hard, like you said, they're almost hard to get out of the fish's mouth. And I don't know why. It's not even that big, really. But that thing just does work. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. If I turn it the right way. Daggone it. Stay there. Focus. I don't know. Like Roger said, though, they are when they get hooked, they're not coming out. I can almost promise you that. What's it? I think TK stands for Tackling Cats. It's the name of the company. Yeah, I've noticed that too. I don't have any whisker seekers, but I have noticed before when I get different hooks and I'll switch around because I use 5/0 pretty much all the time, and not all 5/0 are the same. So I've noticed that myself. Um, I've never used the Team Catfishes either. Um, oops. All right, there we go. Back to the bottom. Yeah, catfish hooks. Team Catfish hooks. I mean, I've seen a lot of people use them on Facebook. I've never tried them though, but yeah, I've seen that quite a few places are starting to carry those. I might have to try them out just to try them. But at the same time, I hate jumping around gear, which it doesn't sound like it because I just talked about 25 different hooks. But I hate jumping around gear when I find something that works and I have confidence in, because the next fish you catch could be 2 pounds, it could be 20 pounds. You just never know. It could be 80 pounds, 100 pounds. So when I find something I like, I usually tend to stick with it. And the gear I use right now, if obviously this would never happen. It'd be awesome if it could, but if somebody said, "Hey, I'm gonna dive down here and hook the new state record, pick what gear you want," I'd grab that rod right there with all that gear on it, and we'd be going to town. So 30-pound might be a little light on the line, but if you set your drag right, you'll be fine. Team Catfish is Daiichi. Yeah, Cabela's has Team Catfish stuff. I just saw some last time I was in there. Never used Eagle Claw hooks. Like I said, I used Gamakatsu for the longest time. And then when Walmart quit selling them, at least my local Walmart, and I had to start going online anyway, I started kind of expanding my search, and that's when I found, the Hooker's Terminal Tackle, and what else did I use offline? I was using one before that Hooker's Terminal Tackle. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, Team Catfish is expensive. See, I don't know if I've ever owned anything Team Catfish. Gamma got you. Yeah, pretty much. I had really good luck with them. Yeah, that's one thing I'm not a huge fan of with those D85s. The biggest pack I've seen them come in is 3. I'm sure they probably make bigger sizes, but I just buy a couple packs at a time. Doesn't really hurt my feelings any. But yeah, I definitely buy quite a few. I need to buy some right now. I was just talking about restocking for this upcoming season, and I've got 13 right now. So I'll probably give me 10 more or something. The link you post is 9-pack. I'll have to check that out. So, well, guys, I've been smelling this chicken out here for the last 45 minutes or so, and it's driving me crazy. I'm gonna give me something to eat. So, if anybody has any more questions, real quick, I'll hang out for a minute, let you guys ask each other or ask me or whoever you got questions for, and then I'm gonna get me some dinner. I know here in what time is it? My screen's cracked right there by my clock. Oops. Just turn my screen off. Sorry about that. Apparently, if you touch a corner of my screen, my phone, screen shuts off. But anyway, I know Chad's going live here in 20 minutes. Chad and Dockery. So I'm gonna get off here and get something to eat. That way I can get on there and watch their show. Art uses the Hooker's Terminal Tackle Backstabbers 10-aught, and they are sweet. You can order by 100 for 65. That don't sound like a bad idea. 3 hooks is about 30 minutes fishing. That's funny. I've been there, man. Yep, that's what I was getting ready to say. I wasn't going to bring it up, but since Roger did. I don't know why I grabbed one. You guys aren't going to be able to see it, but I can even feel it. It's right about here. There's teeth marks where that offset. Daggone it. Try to hold this so you guys. There you go. That offset they got. Whoop. So now, one thing I'm gonna say about that, if you're breaking hooks, I mean, I'm not trying to bash anybody. So anybody that has broken a hook, don't take offense to this, but I've never broken a hook. So to me, if you're breaking hooks, either you're super unlucky or something like that's going on and they're tweaking it like way too far, or your drag set too tight or something. I mean, I know I haven't caught any giant fish by any means, so I understand that probably goes into it as well. But I mean, like people that are breaking rods and stuff like that. I understand that the accidents happen, but if a little plier mark's gonna break your hook, I think you loosen your drag. But I'm not bashing anybody because as soon as Roger told me, I quit using them. So it's just that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, excuse me. Like I just said, my little rant there. If they tweak that just a little bit too far, I mean, I guess that could weaken that a pretty significant amount. I've seen some pretty big metal break, some pretty thick metal break, just by bending it back and forth a couple times. So, I guess I take back a little bit of what I said. I guess that could happen pretty easily. But I don't know. I had no idea anything about that until Roger told me, and ever since, I think somebody else just said it. Yeah, Mike just said it right there. Ever since I heard that, that's when that's the reason I quit using those, and I started branching out. Once I got hooked on those, because I used those for pretty much this whole year, and then when I heard that, I switched over and I found those D85s, and I've been hooked on them ever since. I never thought about using aluminum pliers. I don't like using pliers at all if I can help it. And that's why I like circle hooks and dragging and moving, because 9 times out of 10, that fish is going to hook itself and it's going to be right in the corner of the mouth, and you can just pop it out real quick and be on your way. But that's not always the case. Yeah, Josh, I think that's a big part of it. I kind of caught myself after I said what I said. Um, I've seen some pretty thick metal break before, been back and forth a couple times. So. But I thank you guys for tuning in with me tonight. And yeah, I'm have to look into getting some aluminum pliers. I never really thought about that. Um, I guess, never crossed my mind. I guess I don't know. Too much to think about. So I'm gonna have to look into getting some of those. Um, but yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping in. I'm gonna get off here, get me something to eat, and if somebody can post that link for Chad's live or Dockery's, whatever channel it's on tonight. Thanks for that, Thomas. I might do some more lives. I don't know. I hate I hate being in here sitting in these four walls just talking. I mean, not that I hate talking to you guys, but I'd much rather do it while I'm out fishing. You know what I mean? Which obviously we all want to be fishing, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm awkward just sitting here reading comments, sitting in the house. I don't know. So maybe I might do more. I saw that, Chunky. I'll put that up on the screen real quick so people can see that before they head out. That's not a bad idea either. I never thought of that. And I don't know how much, I can see 100% bending the hook where they tweak it to get that offset. Um, as far as, you know, just grabbing your hook to unhook it, I don't know how much that would really affect it. I completely understand. I mean, I understand using the aluminum pliers and plastic dipping them and stuff like that to protect it. Any precautionary measure. But I don't know how much it would really affect it taking out of the fish's mouth. But um, there you go. There's a good idea for Chunky. All right, thanks for the share, man. I appreciate that. Hooks and hammocks, see you, man. Josh, you had a good time too. Hour and 20 minutes just flew by like it was nothing. So I might do some more of these, especially while it's cold. I am gonna try to put out a rod and a reel review here in the next couple of weeks. I'll probably just do a regular video on that. I've been using both of them for about 3 years now, so it's some good honest feedback. Not haven't even used it before, but I'm gonna try to get those out here in the next couple of weeks. But I might do some lives and chit chat. It was like I said, it passed an hour and 20 minutes like nothing. So I did not know Stan was going live. There's the link for Chad's stream here coming on about 12 minutes, it looks like. You could be shoveling snow instead. I actually just got done doing that when I came in here. Hey, Dale, what's going on, man? I don't know if I saw you were in here earlier or not. Yeah, Josh, I'd watch it. Anytime you're putting out a video, man, that's useful knowledge. Hey, Mike Turner, what's going on, man? Get ready to jump off here. Chunky says, go eat your chicken. I'm about to. It goes by even faster when you're fishing. Absolutely. If I was fishing, it'd be 3 hours in right now. I saw a comment with all the live shows tonight. Right there it is. Yeah, this is Eastern time, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and 10 p.m. For those of you guys that don't know. Like I said, I've seen a lot of these names before, so I'm sure most of you guys know. But if not, 8 p.m. It looks like with the link Roger put up, it's over on Fishing with the Chad channel. 9 p.m. is Panfish Weekly. It's a new channel, obviously, about panfish, with Lyle Stokes and Mark. I'm not going to try to say his last name, so I'll murder it. But then at 10 p.m., apparently Stan's going live. I didn't know that one. So lots of good action tonight, and we'll see you guys. Hey Don, what's going on, man? I'm getting ready to jump off here. Got some chicken that's probably cold by now. I've been smelling it for the last 45 minutes or so. So I'm gonna jump off here, go get something to eat, and I'll see you guys later. Like I said, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Thanks, Dale. I appreciate that.